Yeah, bro.
What's up, man? You a Muslim?
Yeah.
Welcome. Have you been here before?
Yeah, a while ago. Thank you. Just a quick one here. You said further down that Jesus is not a Muslim, right? And then I was scrolling through your live a couple of days ago, and you had something up that you would, if someone can prove that Jesus is Muslim, you'll pay them, right?
Yeah, hold on, give me a second. I want to be fair to you. There you go.
Okay, so if I prove it, you're gonna pay me, yeah?
I'll pay you, man. Straight up.
All right, cool. So this is the same thing I said to you last time, and then you switched the topic, but the same as that this quote is on the topic.
I don't switch the topic. I have OCD about switching topics.
Okay, cool. So Muslim by definition is someone who submits their will to God.
What did I say to you last time when you said that?
I can't remember. You changed the topic. You changed it on something. You said, because obviously, I can't. One thing I know about you that I've learned since speaking to you, you know your stuff. I give you that one thing. You're very intelligent. You're very learned, and someone like me can never go straight with you. Like I need someone far more intelligent than me Islamically. Because I'm not that guy, so I'm not going to jump above my wall. But I do know that by definition, Muslim means by definition someone who submits their will to God, and we know that Jesus submitted his will to God. So by definition, Jesus is a Muslim.
Okay. So is it okay if we investigate that and see if that definition stands?
Okay.
Okay. So it's just Muslim just means one who submits their will to God. Boom, you're a Muslim. Okay. So let's say I say that. I submit my will to God, right? But the God that I'm talking about is a statue in my closet. Am I a Muslim?
No.
So you see how...
Okay, sorry, so let me change it. Sorry. Maybe I didn't say the definition right. That was a mistake on my part. One who submits themselves to the one true God.
Okay. Same thing. I say I submit my will to the one true God, but I say that the one true God is a statue. Am I Muslim?
No. Because the one true God isn't a Muslim.
The one true God isn't a statue.
I mean, sorry. The one true God isn't a statue, sorry.
All right, good. So when you say it's just anyone who submits their will to the one true God, you have a specific concept you have to have.
Yes. Yeah, of course, because there's only one true God, so it can't be anyone else. So it has to be fitted. Exactly.
So it's not just...
Having said that, sorry to cut you off. Having said that, we believe so our definition is when you say that Jesus, the Father in heaven.
Well, let's build up to that first. Let's build up to that. Okay? Yeah. So you have to have a specific concept of God that you submit to in order to qualify to be a Muslim. It's not just simply, oh, I believe in God, and so therefore I'm a Muslim, or, oh, I submit to one God, so I'm a Muslim. No. It depends on what you're saying that God is. You have to have the right concept in order to be a Muslim. Okay? So now, when you say the true God, let me just ask just some questions about him. Is he a Trinity?
No.
Does he beget?
No.
Is he begotten?
No.
All right. Is he a father in any sense?
No.
All right. So these are characteristics of the true God. Anything outside of what we just said would be something that is not the true God, and therefore they're not a Muslim. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, cool. All right. So now what you have to do is show me that Jesus submitted to this concept of God that we just identified. Not a father in any sense, no partners, not a Trinity, doesn't beget nor is begotten. Show me that Jesus believed in that. Okay, so before
obviously, as you'll know, as Muslims will believe in the previous books that come before us. Obviously, we don't believe in the form that they're in today, as you know. You know a lot about Islam. Mm-hmm. So there were certain things that was allowed before that are not allowed now. So it changed. So there's certain things that was allowed in the Torah, then there's certain things that was allowed. Even at the start of Islam, it wasn't haram to drink alcohol, for example, right? Now, obviously, at the time of Jesus, it wasn't clearly... you know what? To be fair, it's going to be actually hard for me now. The more I think about it, because we don't have the Injil, it's going to be hard for us to say whether he did genuinely call Jesus, whether Isa did call God the Father or not. But however, the person, obviously, we believe that when he says the Father, we're talking to for example, if you speak Arabic, because how you said earlier in the other post, I'm digressing, but you're just going to intertwine into the same thing. Like earlier on when you said that Allah is, what did you say, not good, but the Christians call God Allah, because that's just an Arabic name for God. So I'm sure they wouldn't like you saying that because they'll believe in the same things that you believe in, but they just speak Arabic.
Because they know what I'm talking about. They know that.
They still call Jesus, they still call God Allah though.
Yeah, they call Jesus Allah. They call Jesus Allah, right? They call Jesus Allah. Muslims say no, Jesus is not Allah. So
yeah, so what I'm saying, the circle in Allah.
They know that me when I say Allah is not God, I'm referring to the Allah of Islam, not of Christianity.
Maybe you should reference it the Muslim Allah instead of Allah, because I'm sure they take it.
Everybody gets it.
Well, anyway, yeah. So who he's calling is the Father in heaven, right? The Father in heaven, he is God, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, that same Father in heaven, who said there's no one like him, is also what we believe. So by that definition,
that's not what you believe, because you don't believe that he's a father. Remember, we just nailed down the characteristics of the true God, and that anything outside of what we named would not be the true God. So if Jesus is calling God Father, then that means that that's not the true God.
Mm-hmm. You know what it is? You could possibly be very true there, because I didn't think of it until you put it like that. The only thing is obviously I don't know whether it was accepted previously to call him the Father. Then obviously Christians.
I can answer you that. I can answer you that.
Okay, go on.
If you go to the Quran, chapter 9, verse 30, I'm about to pull it up, and this is what it says. The Quran already answers this. Was it okay in the past to think of God as a father and anyone, like Jesus, for example, as his son? All right? And here's the answer. The Quran answers this. Chapter 9, verse 30. The Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah. The Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. That is the saying from their own mouths. They imitate the saying of the disbelievers of old. So back then, people used to say the same thing, that Jesus was God's son, and they are disbelievers. Even back then, Allah says they were disbelievers for saying that.
Okay, yeah, that clearly. Oh, then I didn't know that verse off by heart. So that would the only plausible explanation for me, because obviously I do believe Jesus is a Muslim, because I believe he did submit his will to the one true God. However, obviously for me then it wouldn't be that would have been an interpolation from humans in the Bible, that part. So I don't think now as a Muslim I won't use that reference to say that this proves that Jesus was praying to the one true God, because obviously by how you've explained it out now, is for me I'd say that must have been an interpolation from human or king or ruler at the time. So then, because we do know that there's loads of different versions of the Bible. So
well no. But I appreciate your honesty with that. Like with you, somebody like you, we can talk. We could talk back and forth. Thank God, man. We can move from point A to point B, Ty. So with that being said, right, you're in a tough position. You have this conviction, you have this personal belief as a Muslim that Jesus was a Muslim, right? The Quran points to that and insinuates that. So as a Muslim, you have to believe that. However,
I tell you what it is I think it's more the reason why I believe. So what it is for me is I believe in whatever the Quran says. But
I know.
And then it's why do I believe that? To get it.
Yes.
So before I get into, okay, well, this says it, it's more like, okay, cool. Why do I believe whatever the Quran says? And for me personally, the reason I believe whatever the Quran says is just there's no logical or rational or reasonable explanation that the Quran could have come from anybody except God.
Yes, it is. It comes from human beings, a human.
But they wouldn't have known all the things at the time.
Yes, they do. They hear a lot of things. They hear a lot of stories and traditions that's going around. Even people in the Quran, it says that when they heard some of the recitations of the Quran, they said we heard this stuff already. These are just tales of old. We know this stuff. So
but that would naturally happen, because obviously remember the Injil and the Torah came before, so there's going to be similar things that are in there. However, there's not been a human being today with AI, ChatGPT, humans, anyone that could produce a chapter like it.
But no, Ty, think about that. Think about that, what you just said. There's nobody that can produce a chapter like it. Now, I'm actually going to show you that someone actually did it, but Just think of that challenge for a second. Now, if I say no one can produce an album like the Carter 4, does that mean that it's...
That's a cold album still, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, let's just say I say that, right? And does that mean that it's from God if I say nobody can produce an album like the Carter 4?
Yeah, because that would be subjective where the challenge of the Quran's very...
Yeah, that would be subjective on my own opinion. I would be the one deciding.
What I'm saying is that's not the case with the Quran, though. It's objective.
It is the case. Okay, who would be the judge? Let's say I come up with something, like a chapter like the Quran or a verse like the Quran. Who's to tell me that what I wrote and came up with is not like the Quran?
I'll tell you why, because there's objective things that you have to pass.
Like
before.
what?
So, for example, I can't remember off the top of my head because I was very interested in this. So I watched a lecture on it, and there's a book about it. I try and find the name of the book, and it basically says you have to use new words that have never been used before.
Why?
Because this is what was in the Quran. So it had words that have never been heard before, but people understood them.
Wait. The Quran doesn't say that. The Quran doesn't say that one of the criteria is that you have to use words that were never used before. Huh?
But the Quran did have that, though. So that's one of the criteria.
And the Quran has no. The Quran has words that have been used before and reused over and over and over again.
It also had new grammatical things where it's never been used before. You know what it is? There's a lecture on it. I'd love to send it you just so you can understand more, because it fully what's the name's it out. It fully explains it. Obviously, I can't do it because I'm not sure. I'm a layman.
It's okay, but this is all subject. But let me show you that somebody did come up with stuff like the Quran. Look, I'm gonna show you that Umar did it. You know who Umar is, right?
Yeah.
So Umar is one of the companions of Muhammad, Umar bin Khattab. He came up with 3 verses of the Quran, 3 of them himself. Okay, I'm gonna show you this.
You on about when he compiled the Quran?
Nope. That was Uthman. I'm talking about Umar when Muhammad was still alive. All right, so Sahih Bukhari 4483. See it?
Yeah, I just took a screenshot so I can go back to it.
All right, perfect. So watch this. This says, narrated Anas. Umar said, I agreed with Allah in 3 things. Or said, my Lord agreed with me in 3 things. Either or, both he and Allah agreed 3 times. All right. So Umar said, O Allah's apostle, would that you took the station of Abraham as a place of prayer. And so then it became a verse. That's I forgot what verse it is exactly. There's actually a hadith that actually records the exact verse of that. Hold on. All right. Sahih Bukhari 402. Let's get it. There we go. All right, yeah. So look, my Lord agreed with me in 3 things. All right. 1, I said, O Allah's messenger, I wish we took the station of Abraham as our praying place. All right. So came the divine inspiration. And take you the station of Abraham as a place of prayer. So after Umar said it, then suddenly it gets revealed to take Abraham's station as a place of prayer.
But that's not Abraham revealing it, is it? It's not him writing it.
It's him saying it, and then Muhammad saying it.
That's not him writing the Quran, because that's not him writing the Quran. Though,
he made something like it. Matter of fact, he made something so much like it that it actually became a verse in the Quran.
No, that's like me saying, I don't know.
Really, the challenge should be come up with something similar like that to Umar. What Umar says, that should be the challenge, not the Quran, because the Quran is taken from what Umar says.
Well, that's a verse. I'm on about a chapter. That's a sentence. That's not a chapter, like the Quran.
Well, the Quran says bring something like it, not just a chapter.
It says bring a chapter like it.
No, I know. There is a verse that says bring a chapter like it. There's another verse that says bring something like it, period.
Yeah, but if you bring something like it, you can bring 1 letter.
Yeah, you can bring something like it, like the Quran, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is obviously, the reason it says bring a verse like it, because it has a certain element has to be filled. If you say bring it, by something mind, if it meant literally something, you could just bring a letter.
There's 3 of them, bro. Look, let's just finish the hadith, because there's 3 of them. That's just one. Okay. That's one verse that came from Umar. There's 2. And as regards the veiling of the women, I said, so Umar said, "Oh, Allah's messenger, I wish you ordered your wives to cover themselves from the men because good and bad ones talk to them." So the verse of the veiling of women was revealed.
But a lot of things like this happen. Like things would come down, and revelation would come down immediately to address the situation.
Just as Umar says it, though.
Yeah, like there's been things that have happened. Like someone's asked the prophet something, for example, or something's happened, and then revelation will come down immediately for that situation.
Well, there is a response to the situation or an answer to the situation, but there's a difference between an answer to a situation and the actual thing that somebody said, like Umar saying something, coming up with something on his own, and then it ended up being a verse in the Quran, what he said. You get what I'm saying?
I'll speak to my scholar about it and see what his opinion is on it. Like I said, obviously, I'm glad you bring these things up because it makes me think. And one thing is about me is I believe I'm very sincere. So if something doesn't make sense, I'll research it. And if it still doesn't make sense, for example, if something generally didn't make sense in Islam and I could prove it, I'd leave Islam. But I've never found it. So anytime I've come across things like this about scholars that never explained it.
Oh, you came to the right place, man. You came to the right scholar today.
I'm on about Muslim scholars, not biased ones. But I watch a lot of debates between Muslims and Christians. That's what I do more than anything. Because I like to see the differences. Yeah. But I see a lot of people in your comments like saying I'm going to become a Christian. Very doubtful.
We have a saying here, man. An honest Muslim is an ex-Muslim, and we're never wrong about that. If you're honest, you are an ex-Muslim, bro. It's just how it goes. But
listen, I try to be sincere. I go and I look, but I've never come across something and then I've asked and I've never not got an answer.
Okay.
So far. Like what you're saying, obviously it makes sense. I'm going to ask my scholar that. I say, oh, look, my man said this. I never knew this. What does this mean? Because Umar saying this and but I have a revelation like it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate. I like learning. Do you know what I mean? Because I try to be sincere and I try to be genuine because I want to make it to heaven and I want to make sure I'm on the right path. I believe I am, but however, if I was proven wrong, I wouldn't be. I'm not too ignorant or arrogant to stay in something I know that doesn't make sense. That's not me.
Of course.
But I do believe, obviously, for sure. Obviously, I believe 100%. I'm on the right path. However, if I know it wasn't, then I would leave. Do you know what I mean? Right, but for me, can I ask you some questions about Christianity that don't make sense to me?
Sure, but let me finish this first.
Okay, sorry, go on.
We're not even done. So look, so he says, so here's the third one. Once the wives of the prophet made a united front against the prophet, and I said to them, it may be if he divorced you, that his Lord will give him instead of you wives better than you. So this verse, now this is in parentheses, but it says the same as I had said was revealed. So notice the human origin of these three verses. They're coming from Umar, bro. And matter of fact, 66.5 is almost verbatim what Umar said. But Muhammad brings it as, oh, this is a revelation from Allah. No, Umar said this. Unless you want to say that Umar also got inspiration from Allah, so he's a prophet too. You know? So, but yeah, take this, take it up.
I screenshot it. I'm going to look into it for sure.
So then we got to land this Jesus is a Muslim thing. Okay?
Yeah, you got me on that one. Let me not lie. I really thought I was gonna come here and do something. I thought I was gonna make two bags, bro. I thought I was up. You know what it was? Is because it threw me off the father. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, oh yeah, actually, we don't call him the father, so it doesn't. I can't even say that that's who we were speaking about. Do you know what I mean? Sorry.
So, but I want you, because there's something that important that happened there, bro. I want you to realize. Let me just set this on here. I want you to realize the conundrum that topic put you in. And there's a reason why I do this topic. Like, it's not just a topic that it's for a gotcha moment. No, this topic actually shows the inadequacy of Islam. It has no answers. Matter of fact, it's conflicting and it's contradicting. Let me show you how. Okay. Because what you were doing was you were like, well, you know, in light of Jesus being a Muslim and to know what he believed and how he practiced his religion, we would have to refer to the previous scriptures, the Injil. We'd have to do that. But wait a second. If I do that, then it shows me that Jesus is saying that God is his father, which would mean that he can't be a Muslim, because Allah says he's not a father, and that's a disbeliever. That would contradict what Islam is teaching. So what I have to conclude is to make up for this is that, then that just can't be the Injil then. That can't be the Injil.
Yeah, so what I was going to say was, naturally what I'd say was, obviously we don't have the Injil today, but there was an Injil at the time. But then I also have watched the debate with you and the white Muslim brother with the ginger beard. So I watched that. So obviously you was going back and forth, because obviously you were saying, no, it is the same. And you're saying, no, this isn't it. So I did watch that. So obviously I'm a layman, so I can't even get into that with you because you're twisting me up quick. So I'm never going to try.
But what was your impression on that? On what? Maybe you might not remember points exactly, but maybe you remember your impression. What was your impression from my side of the debate? Do you think I brought good points?
No, 100%. In fact, I think every time I've watched you bring up good points.
Okay.
And then there's some things where I think, okay, I never even thought of it like that. But then there's also times where I think the other person makes a good statement, and then sometimes I think you can be at loggerheads, and I think it just depends on. Do you know what I mean? I think if you're just gonna go, I always try and think of this. Okay, cool. You're gonna follow your scripture 100%. They're gonna follow theirs. Okay, cool. Only one can be true. How do we know this one over the other? So mine always goes back to, okay, cool. Does it stand the test of time? Is there any contradictions? Is there any scientific errors? If there's one in either, it's not the word of God. So for me personally, obviously I know you're going to come and try and reveal some off to me now, and I can't. There's a lot of things where I'm going to be like, listen, I'm not a scholar, so I have to go back to my scholars and they'll say, oh no, that doesn't mean that means this.
I won't give you too much.
But for example, to my knowledge, you correct me if I'm wrong, in the Bible it says that the moon's its own light, right?
No.
I'm sure I've read. Well, I watched a lecture with I think it was Dr. Zaki Naik and Dr. William Campbell, and Dr. William Campbell was like, yeah, the moon of the sun is its own light, and obviously the Quran says it's a reflected light from the sun, and obviously
it's not making a scientific notion. Like, it's not making a scientific claim. The Bible is not a scientific book. It's a book that expresses things, expresses what people perceive and stuff like that, but. Like you would say that science determines whether or not a scripture is true or not?
Well, it can't say things as like a sign, or not even like a sign. It can't say, I don't know, for example, if it said something like, I don't know, I think of something that.
Like, for example, we say that the sun sets. Is that scientifically accurate?
No, obviously not.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, say if it said that, I don't know, the moon had, I don't know, the moon was made of chocolate.
The moon has its light.
Just say, for example, it said the moon was made of chocolate, and then obviously we could prove that it's not. Then obviously the Bible would be false, right? So that's what I'm saying. So if you're saying it's the light of the moon, it creates itself.
But that's like a truth claim, though. But just saying that, like, the moon.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if it's making a claim of truth and it's false, then it's
saying that the moon. Okay, is it a truth claim when we say that the sun sets?
No.
So how do you make a difference?
I think there's a difference between it's its own light, though, because it's not its own light, is it?
I think when you take into consideration cultural context, right, and how people speak in their time and how they communicate things, you'll be able to decipher whether or not somebody's making a claim of truth or just an expression, a colloquial expression.
I think that can be a scapegoat sometimes, though. If a mistake's been made, you can say, no, I didn't mean that, I mean this, and you can do that with nearly anything.
I think that we can look at the context and see. I'm not just saying we can look at the context and see.
Well, things like, okay, in the Bible, I know that.
Well, hold on. If you're talking, you keep bringing up Bible. Just hold on a second.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm trying to think of something that's more specific. That's why I was going to give you something more specific.
Well, for me, the Bible's not a book of science. It's not a scientific book.
No. This wasn't a science one. This was saying, hold on.
Let me just say this.
Okay,
if by your standard, like this was your standard. If science and scientific accuracies/inaccuracies make or break a religious text, you have to throw Islam out the freaking window, man. It's terrible.
I've not. If you could, if there was one that can be proven by science, that was one that the Quran says, and it's false, I would leave Islam. If I could prove it was false, I'd leave.
For example, here's a clear one. Here's a according to science, what we know is a fact. What was created first, the Earth or the universe?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. It's the universe, bro. The universe is like 14 billion years old, and the Earth is like 4.5 billion years old, okay? According to science. So there's a huge gap. And obviously, even just scientifically, the Earth couldn't exist without the universe. The universe contains space, matter, time, energy, right? That's the origin. That's where everything is.
Yeah.
So the space, the Earth would have to be within the universe to have space, one, to be temporal, two, and to be operating with energy and matter, you know? So it has to be inside the universe. It can't be the other way around. If it's outside the universe, then that would mean that the Earth is timeless. It's eternal and infinite, right? It's spaceless. It's immaterial.
There's more than one universe, though.
Huh?
There's more than one universe.
If you want to say that, fine. If you want to say that,
I'm sure, like scientifically, there's loads of universes.
No, there's not, bro. That's science fiction.
I'm sure I was watching something the other day, and he was saying that there's multiple universes.
Yeah, there's absolutely no evidence for multiple universes, bro.
I'll have to look that up, bro. Maybe I've just got that wrong. But I'm sure I was watching something on the thing and there's multiple universes.
That is straight up science fiction. But anyway, so if we're going with this, bro, let's even say if there's multiple universes, our universe, right? Our universe had to come first before the Earth, right? Would you agree?
I'll have to look. When it comes to this, I don't want to say yes or no. It sounds like that would be the case, of course, but I'm not 100%. I don't know about astrology, to be honest.
Well, that's what they say. That's what science says. Like I said, the age of the universe is 14 billion years old, at least our universe. The Earth is 4 billion years old. So the universe comes first. They even, Big Bang, boom, and then matter and stuff come together, planets and stars and galaxies and all kinds of stuff. Okay. So even stars are older than the Earth. I'm sorry. Stars within the universe are older than the Earth. The Quran says the other way around. The Quran says that the Earth came before the universe, before the 7 heavens. So even if you say that there's multiple universes, right, which would be the 7 heavens, right? Mm-hmm. The Quran says that the Earth came before the different universes.
I'd love to look it up. I don't know, but I'm glad. Can I just write this in my notes? I might pause it a second.
Of course.
So, I can still hear you. So if you just tell me the chapter, I can type it.
So, the Earth comes before the universe. Chapter 41, verses 9 to 12. You could also couple that with chapter 2, verse 29.
Yeah, I've wrote that in my notes because I'm going to look it up and then I'm going to look into it and I'll see what the scholars of Islam have to say about it. Because obviously there's a contradiction, but you see what it is? I'm not going to lie, I've seen all these things asked before and then the scholars are like, in Arabic, this means this and this means, do you know what I mean? So they send a lot of the time, people are reading it in English translation and it can have a different, as we all know, in Arabic, one word can have 3 different meanings, do you know what I mean? That's just the Arabic language.
I'm going to tell you this right now. And I don't mean to bad talk your scholars or whatever, but they're gonna lie to you. That's all I'm gonna say. What I would suggest you do, I suggest that you go to the early scholars that these people in the masjid learned from, which are Ibn Kathir, Ibn al-Tabari.
Yeah.
These guys. So go to Ibn Kathir. Check what Ibn Kathir says. Open up 229. Matter of fact, put this in your notes too, so that you don't forget. So put in your notes, relating to 229, look at Ibn Kathir's tafsir on 229. And he even says, and shows you multiple opinions from the other scholars as well, that say that yes, the earth was created first, then the heavens. And the actual explanation that Ibn Kathir gives in his tafsir is that when you're building a house, you don't start with the roof first. You start with the floor. Okay? And so he's saying that the earth is the floor and the heavens is the roof. So the floor gets built first, then the roof. So similarly, he says the earth was made first, then the heavens, the roof. So that's how Ibn Kathir explains it.
What's that got to do with the universe?
Well, that's the heavens. That's the universe.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm on you. Okay, yeah, I'm on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that more because I like to ask. But do you know what? This is one thing I do like about Islam. It says if you have a problem or anything that will question your iman, for example, your faith, and you think, oh, this doesn't make sense, you have to go out and seek knowledge because there will be an answer for it. So if you don't seek knowledge, and it's affecting your iman, then it's almost haram to not seek knowledge because they're saying there's an answer for everything. Now, if I come across something, and I say this to everybody, friends, family, because I'm a revert, right? So I say this to my friends, family, anybody. I say, I'm genuine serious. So if I ever come across something, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense, and I ask scholars, and it still doesn't make sense, and I ask someone else, and it doesn't make sense, and then there's no other explanation apart from this is inaccurate, I'll leave Islam today, wallah.
Okay.
Or whenever I find it. But that's only, but I have to genuinely find it. I'm saying this is not true. And there's been things where I thought this before, and I've genuinely looked for them, and I've always got answers. So, say for example, I got answers, and it wasn't correct answers, or the answers didn't make sense to me still, because I'm not just going to accept an answer. I have to look at the answer and think, you know what, this don't make sense. Do you know what I mean?
This is what I want you to do as well. I want you to bring the answer that you find. I want you to bring them to me as well.
Okay.
And see if I have a rebuttal to them. If it makes sense to you, if it makes it, if you're like, oh, you know what? Okay, yeah, I see this answer. Bring that answer to me, and see if it's adequate.
Yeah, I will do. But then I feel like there's going to be a long back and forth. You're going to say, this means that, then I'm going to go on there and say that.
So I'm very similar, bro. If I've been corrected on stuff before, I've been corrected on stuff before, even by Muslims, by the way. Like I've had Muslims.
No humans are fallible, right? We're all humans. So.
Yeah. So I've been corrected by Muslims. They pulled me to the side and said, "Look, man, I understand why you're making this argument, but here, when you're using it this way, like in the Arabic, this is this. So boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay, I see. And I've had to concede because I'm honest. I can't just keep. There are certain arguments that you'll see I don't use that maybe other Christians may still use. But a lot of us and people in my group, we don't use certain arguments because they're not good arguments. And we've learned that they're not good arguments.
Okay, that makes sense. To be honest with you, there's a couple of people I've spoke to them before, and I feel like the problem is with, I think, Christians and Muslims is when they're having conversations like this, where they're so passionate, which is good, they can't sit down and have a logical, reasonable, rational discussion. They don't need to shout like, we're two completely different religions, but I respect you as a person and I can speak to you and have a conversation. I don't have to be like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. One, first of all, you're far more educated than me, so I respect you on that. But like I see people in the comments like, oh, at least he's being calm, or you said at least you can have a conversation. I think this is how people should have conversations, religious people, this and that. You don't have to slander each other, be this and that. It's just like, have a conversation. And that's when that's when the truth will come out, because the truth's never going to come out when people are shouting at each other and trying to get a point across, because they're not listening to understand, they're listening to reply. Do you know what I mean? And it's not sincere. So I appreciate the conversation with you anyway, and I'm going to look into these things. And if you see me back, you'll know why. Yeah.
Come back, man. Make sure you're watching the stuff. Make sure you're staying close, and don't be a stranger. Come on up, man. You're my best guest of the day, man. So don't. It's rare that I get to connect like this with the other side.
Yeah, bro. It's like even when I watch some like obviously speakers corner, sometimes people have good things and valid points, and it's like you're not even getting a point across either person because you're just shouting. And I think, what's the point, bro? Just have a conversation, bro. It's a lot easier. People take to one. How are you going to learn? Because do you know what it is? I'm actually here to understand things and learn. I don't think I'm better than nobody. I don't think no one's wrong. I'm better than this or this is wrong. I just want to understand. So it's easy. Like, I think this is how everybody should be. Do you know what I mean? And I've enjoyed this conversation. Do you know what I mean? Same here. I appreciate it. But anyway, I'm gonna leave now. But it's a pleasure having you on, and I'll speak to you soon, bro.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.